That's its own, because even a lot of interviews you go, especially like in a Hollywood and a LA situation, the whole setup would be a setup. The whole setup is a setup.
They trying to get something out you. They trying to get a sound bite. They trying to say something opposed to being on a vibe.
Somebody stand up, you gotta tell them shut up. The whole setup is a setup. Hey boy, get up, let up. We fed up. I'm going head up.
I'm not gonna join him. It's bars. He's going crazy right there. And when he's going Yeezy.
Yeah. But they have it where they'll have a person that's just there just to antagonize black people.
Right.
And we're used to us getting ripped apart. So what I'm saying is, like we say Walter Van Buren or anybody, even like black designers, I know for me, like everybody been jealous of everybody that's designed. A lot of people that have designed, there's a lot of people who have been jealous of Virgil because he got that spot. That's the number one spot. Right. So everybody can be frustrated, but when I spoke out on Twitter, that was not Christ-like. That's why I had to go to my wife and say, I didn't cover you the way that I should have. And I even said something because we were listening to a Christian playlist, and it was all these like new edition songs and stuff. I was like, well, she is good at black playlists. She's
But you say that, and we have a good time, man. We laugh and stuff. But on quite often we share scripture and words of inspiration with each other. And one thing that sits on me one time is like I love Proverbs, and like Proverbs 2:2 says, "Turn your ear to wisdom and your heart to understanding." And I feel like that's what I don't know. I tell myself that daily. And I feel like I've shared that one with you, and we talk, because I always say utilize your voice, be the leader that you are. You've proven people wrong so many times, so that they don't understand you. So when we seek our own understanding through the word, it has to, like, we connecting in a different way, but other people ain't gonna understand it. They've called both of us coons. They've called us crazy. They call all of these names. But when you see like two brothers having a friendly conversation, I feel like anybody can tap in and understand that, this is a man who loves his family. It's a man who has passion for art, for creative ideas, anything in a creative space. But why do you think that you're so misunderstood when trying to seek your own understanding?
I just think I say what I feel, and I keep it real in a phony situation. So that looks wrong.
Truth to power. That's what that is.
Yeah, that just looks wrong to people. Let's take when I met with Jared Kushner.
Let's talk about that.
In Colorado.
Yeah, because they said there was a secret meeting that you guys set up in that.
Yeah, it ain't no secret meeting.
He's using you as a puppet. That's what they're saying. Yeah,
so the thing is, I'm not one of these, I'm black, so I'm Democrat. 95% of black people are Democrat.
Yeah.
I wanted to meet with Bernie Sanders before he wouldn't meet with me. Now, I'm fine to meet with Biden. I mean, he probably...
You would meet with Biden right now?
I would meet with anybody. I love everybody.
So, hey,
Jesus loves everybody.
I love Kamala Harris. That's a personal friend. H.U. Howard, But I understand, like, this politics is... And you just want to talk to people who share your passion.
Yeah, well, I met with Jared. That's a friend of mine. I knew them before they was in the White House.
Right.
Trump used to go to award shows with Puff Daddy.
That is true. We all used to put Trump in our raps. That was the American dream, to ball out like Trump.
I always remember who someone has been to me. You see what I'm saying? Like, that's why when I had an opportunity to do Nas's album, this person made Illmatic.
Facts.
People was bugged out because they was like, you didn't give him a better album than you gave yourself. It's like, this man Nas is like one of my heroes.
Right.
He was one of my father figures.
Right.
Nas was he was my brother. He was my stylist from a distance.
Yeah.
Fresh
cut.
What would Nas wear? How would Nas cut his hair?
Yeah.
And so when I had an opportunity to make music for him, I'm going to give it everything I got. My grandfather used to say, if you were a janitor, be the best janitor that you can be. And what I like about producing has always been a service position. To say, let me find something that's going to be in service to you. So let me talk about the Jared thing. I always feel like I keep getting pulled over in my fancy car. Like when I was 19, I got pulled over for driving a white Expedition. I had braids, pelly jacket. And when my mom came to bail me out, I saw on the police report, it said cream Ford Explorer. That was crossed out, and it said white Expedition. So I wasn't even the one they looked. They just got close enough, and they threw me in jail. Okay, I meet with Jared Kushner, and everybody want to ask you questions. This is my Expedition I'm driving. I ain't got to tell you. I don't care if we got ice cream. I can meet with whoever I want. You know why? Because I'm free.
Right.
And so many black people, so many people are just not free.
Right.
I have the freedom to vote for who I want. I have the freedom to meet with whoever I want. Like, for me, it's like, I got friends that's like, well, because of the riots, I know a bunch of people that's like, oh, we like Trump now. And then after the riots, it was like, we hate Trump. We just got to do everything we can get him out of office.
The protest and all of that. Yeah.
But let me tell you something. People keep on saying, I think that you and Republicans are
in cahoots.
In cahoots.
They saying that they paying you to do what you're doing to be a distraction.
Bro, can't nobody pay me.
You got more money than Trump.
I got more money than Trump.
So you doing
all
this?
Praises to God.
Yeah. So what is the purpose of meeting with Jared Kushner? What is the purpose of,
By the way, I don't need no purpose. Now, the thing is, I have a reason that people would like. Like, that man came out with a printed copy because he couldn't get the paperback version of Dr. Claude Anderson's book.
The Powernomics.
Powernomics. And he had.
So wait, Jared Kushner had Powernomics.
Jared Kushner
talking about black empowerment.
Powernomics and had notes, redlined, underlined, quoting lines all through
so
it.
Anybody who's not familiar with Claude Anderson, this is a dude who started in education and has just been building for the wealth of black people and the empowerment of black people, closing the wealth gap for so long. One of the things from Powernomics that I always relate to is when he talks about blacks are the only people in the United States that don't have communities. They're like we occupy residential areas, you know what I mean? But everyone else has their own community.
And this was the plan right here. Claude Anderson has a 4-year plan to rebuilding the black community.
Right.
That is what we talked about.
That's what you and Jared talked about.
Yeah. But I don't care if I talked and just got some ice cream. I could get ice cream. That's what I'm saying. I don't have to justify none of my actions, period.
Yeah. You're a free man.
You're free. I'm not no housekeeper.
Right.
And what has Biden done for me that's so special? What has he done for me that's so special to make me vote for this man? Right. And I don't care about likability.
Right. So and this is you're speaking.
And I be frustrated because let me tell you who the most racist. The liberal racists. When a white person could tell me you gonna split the vote, better not step past the line, boy.
Right. So now
but let me tell you, here's the one. Here's the one.
Deep, yeah.
Here's the one.
So this is where I go to a place, and this is why I brought up this book by the great Dick Gregory. God rest his soul. He's our ancestor now. But in 1968, one of the most pivotal years, like 2020, he ran for president.
I wouldn't mind the first 4 years of me.
That's what Dick Gregory said, and he said to be forced to select between a two dominant party choice is to have no real choice at all. And it's almost, that goes back to like what W.B. Du Bois says, there's no such thing as two parties, there's just one evil party with two names. So you are stepping out as pretty much what the Declaration of Independence says is when you see a flawed government, you're going to speak to it for the people. But people are saying you're a distraction, and because they don't want 4 more years of Trump, maybe you might, I don't, but you want an alternative of 4 years of Ye. Is that realistic right now in 2020?
Well, God has made unreal things happen. I'm here.
For you many times.
Is it realistic for me to be here?
Nah, you done You done cheated death several times. You done accomplished what most people said you would never accomplish. You've certified yourself as a multi-genius and a multi-billionaire.
And we just came up with multi-genius.
But
No, because I had people keep on telling me, man, it's just rude to call yourself a genius. So I was like, oh, okay. How about a multi-genius?
And that's other people don't understand Ye's sense of humor. So he like this all the time, and they will say, "Oh, well, there he go acting crazy again and saying crazy things." When really you have a different perspective, and you come from it from a place where you're not really trying to.
This is what I want to say. Like when people, all right. So look at this, right? So this I was wearing it, walking through the domes and the ranch.
Right.
But I could wash these off, and they'd be
brand new.
Yeah, box fresh. Now. I saw people talking after I just saw black people on TV, like ridiculing me and dissing me for crying on TV. And the whole thing about the Harriet Tubman thing is we don't need to tear our statues down to build new ones because we don't got enough statues. That's what it is. But the only icon is Jesus. But what I want to say is those people that's ridiculing me, bro, you ain't designed this. Come on, man.
So they can't talk. But so
if they ain't make Dark Fantasy, Dark Fantasy, and Watch the Throne,
right,
and Cruel Summer,
talk your talk,
and Good Fridays,
and late registration.
I'm just talking about just 12 months. I'm just talking about 12 months.
You're right.
I'm just talking about 12-month period.
Yeah.
I had a friend, man. I ain't gonna say we could edit this out, but I was saying that, and he was like, man, Cruel Summer is trash. I say, boy, you ever made something like Mercy? Like, cool.
But that's okay. So what about all those people who are saying? Because granted, all of those are genius moves. But what about the people who are saying you are out of touch, so that you can't?
Oh man, that's
really...
the dream come true.
But as a leader, as someone who's supposed to be guiding people and running for president, they want somebody they can relate to.
So exactly. So am I out of touch when I break down at the drop of a dime of the thought of aborting my daughter?
But some people can say that's instability. Some people that, look, Ye needs help because he's too
I would
emotional.
say that the world is what's unstable. America is what's unstable.
And you would be 100% accurate.
22,500,000 black people have been executed through abortion culture. It's so many things that are for the culture. Do it for the culture. I do this for Christ, boy. This ain't for the culture. This for Jesus Christ.
So what about people saying you're a little too religious, especially to be running for office?
That's what we need. And that's who I am. And I always been who I am, and it's worked out thus far.
Right.
And I shall be president at some point in our lifetime.
So maybe not 2020. So what about 2024? Because Kamala in there with I know you don't like Biden, but to see a woman operating, a black woman from Oakland, went to a HBCU to be in the White House, you gotta want to support that. You gotta want to see that. That's a good thing for the culture. And you can follow up 2024.
Is it a good thing for Christ? What's her position?
I don't know. That's a great question.
Because when you're a Democrat, you're not allowed to talk about Christ. Republicans are allowed to talk about Christ. Democrats not allowed to talk about Christ.
Martin Luther King was a Republican, right?
Blacks used to be the Republicans back then.
Absolutely.
Blacks used to be. And if you're a Christian, most of your values going to align with Republicans more.
Now, you're such an out-of-the-box type of person, and you got your own party now, the birthday party. Why does...
This is our party. This is not just my party.
Our party.
This is our party, the birthday party.
And it's funny because it reminds me of one time we was on a panel, and this is when I got Kanye. We was young. We was at one of the recording academy pack. We was both trying to get our Grammy grind on, and it was a bunch of kids. And he was like, yo, people always treated me all my life, like tell me to be quiet and all that stuff. And he was like, no, I live my life like it's my birthday. He's like, you ever go to like Chuck E. Cheese or Showbiz or whatever? And they was like, yo, you making too much noise over there. He's like, I'm supposed to make this noise. It's my birthday. And I was like, I understand him now. Like you've cheated death. You've done so many. You've been that quiet kid in the back. So
I
now
didn't
it's
cheat
your
death.
birthday.
I was never married to death. How can I cheat?
We seen from the accident. People don't even know you had more than one car accident and things of that nature. Like we've seen you beat the odds many times in so many ways, and so that's why you're so outspoken.
When I said I was going to run for office, and people asked Hillary Clinton before she ran, and they said, "What do you think about Kanye running for office?" Her response was, "I wouldn't want to run against him."
Who would?
And when I said
So
that
they're
I was
scared
running,
of you mainly, is what this is.
Yeah, because the funny thing is, even though blacks, due to abortion, not due to Kanye West, due to abortion, we are only 13%
Of the entire
of
population.
the entire
in America.
of the vote. You know, that 13% can make a difference. If you ask Lewis Hamilton,
Absolutely.
that small percent can be the difference in.
Especially when we have the influence that you have. And do you see that as a responsibility? Because you speaking on some heavy topics, from abortion, from economics to these things now, even more so with children. When people hear you speak, they want you to speak in a direction that, one, gets rid of the oppression that this administration has put upon our community.
People live in a soundbite community, a soundbite culture where you think one line finna change everything. Not no one. Do you know how long me and Jared sat there and went through point by point from Claude Anderson's book, and the time I spent on the phone with Claude Anderson's wife, or the time I spent talking to Charlemagne about this? This is just the beginning of a journey. When we talk about sustainable communities, they get all these. The Democrats are really good at using, or the left are really good at using social media to try to cancel people, to try to bring them down, to try to discredit. I think it's 4 Ds. It's discredit, dismiss.
Yeah.
And
I saw you. Yeah, you wrote to me about that.
I feel like I'm made of steel. Like I can't even be.
You can't be canceled.
Like I can't be canceled, but also
done
like
tried to cancel you a
I
bunch
couldn't
of
be
times.
hurt. I
Right.
felt like I couldn't be hurt anymore.
Right.
Until, we spoke about the idea of aborting my daughter.
And then that's when you got vulnerable.
Like that's when I was like, I had to feel that, because I feel that people might say I'm out of touch because I'm not letting the smokescreen stop my decisions to move forward. Think about the way the slaves was always controlled. There was so many more slaves than the slave master, but we were brainwashed, and we still are.
Right. And that's in the past statements, when you've made statements, whether it's about Harriet Tubman or even slavery being a choice. That's what you were pretty much touching on, is like we were brainwashed and we were controlled by the system. Like Carter G. Woodson says, once you control a man's mind, you don't have to worry about his actions.
And that's the thing. They're not controlling my mind, so they're worried about my actions. And these are not reactions. God is using me, and God covers me. And won't nothing happen until he's done with me.
Right. I mean, and that's evident. The fruits of your labor are evident.
Look,
what about the people who say the devil is, because the earth is, the devil's domain and his dominion and all of that stuff. And they said, just like the devil tempted Jesus and said, I can give you all of these things in the earth. Do you see because I've seen that as well. It's like, oh, that's the devil, especially some of them super duper church going type of Christians. They want to be like, oh, that's not Christian. They hate on Sunday service. They say, oh no, that's the devil, that's the world, that's secular, playing and being a facade for what Christ really is.
I mean, a lot of people got opinions on how to represent Christ. And some people, they argue about the image of Christ.
Because you have an abundance, you know what I mean? Like you had, and he said, "Come, so I have life and have it abundantly." But Jesus was meek at the same time.
People be saying, "Oh, God told you this. God told you. God told you. God told you." But through me, God showed you.
Come on, bars. All right. God told you, but through me, God showed you. All right.
What we talking about? And by the way, even if I had to go through what Job went through,
where everything goes away.
You know what I'm saying?
And the reason why that Job went through that is because he feared all of those things. You don't have no fear.
Man, I see Mandela's prison cell, and I'm like, all right, we would whatever. We're not afraid of death.
He put 27 strong ones in for his people.
Yeah, we're not afraid of prison. We're not afraid of death. we just not afraid. We ain't going. That's period. Let me explain something about. With me, I'm a freedom fighter. So my comment to Harriet Tubman or of her was
we gotta clear that
more,
up.
we got to be reminded.
How white people did us dirty.
Yeah, or how we were slaves. Or even go to African American History Museum. It don't start off with the African drums. It starts off with the slave boats. Because
Well, I mean, it depends what door you go in.
It could be more motivational, but they don't want us to get.
I say this all the time. You're not wrong when they say, well, our culture is much more than slavery, and that's when we want to talk about,
If we have Black History Month, we need to have Black Future Month.
Just like that, I make Black history every day. I don't need a month. We was there when Ye came up with that.
I think you gave me that bar.
I gave him that. See, I told y'all. I gave him the bar. But in that sense, you've always exemplified that, and it goes back to the richest man to ever live. This is who. If you ever did a movie, or you should be the Sultan of Mali. Mansa Musa is, to this day, his gifts threw off the economy. In the 1300s, this the richest man to ever live, richer than Jerry Bezos, like in the trillions. But he was an African, in the 1300s, he was an explorer, all of this type of stuff. But they don't teach us about those type of individuals because they want to start with slavery, because everything looks better from slavery. If you start at slavery, everything gonna look better, look like progress.
Don't give you nothing, and if you just get a little sip of water, then you look like a horse with a sugar creep.
Best water I ever had.
That's how they be having us.
That's the whole
thing. Like
why don't they show us that we're more than slaves?
See, when people say, "Oh, the Republicans paying Kanye," that's like you acting like
they got more money than me.
You acting like I could be paid,
right?
Bro, I saved $100 million in taxes this year.
Right.
I saved $100 million in taxes.
Right.
This ain't got nothing to deal with.
One thing I've known Ye for a long time. Can't nobody tell him to do anything he don't want to do. Can't nobody convince him with no money. Can't nobody convince him. He's gonna do what he wants to do, and it seems that your passion was to show people how much you care.
I never did it for the money, but the funny thing is, people call me crazy and they discriminate against people with mental illness or
mental health.
Abilities.
Right.
Mental abilities, because it's actually an ability. It's a superpower.
You're
I'm not
tapping
even
into a
going to let
different
y'all
frequency.
tell me it's an illness.
Right.
Because I'm seeing the truth inside of a phony world, and then people want to lock her up, lock me up. They want to lock me up for expressing myself,
You
bro.
didn't even do nothing but express
I didn't even
yourself.
do anything but express myself, and I'm going to get hit with the needle and thrown. You know what would happen if I got thrown in a crazy home? It would drive me crazy.
That's normally what happens. That's what and even the infrastructure of what Big Pharma is and how they, even from young Black boys, they always want to diagnose them with something. Whether they diagnosed me with ADHD when I was a kid because they want to get you hooked on drugs early. They want to say that they want to put you in special education when really you just on a different frequency and you on a different way. So let's talk about that. The fact that people have called you crazy. Yeah. Do you see that as irresponsible?
Well, I just see that that's a new discrimination that people have to understand, because there's even people that are mindful of the word crazy, like how post Me Too, men were very cautious in the way we didn't get no hug. Here, that before COVID,
nobody.
Facts. Those are nice.
You don't compliment.
Nails you got.
You got to be careful with your compliments these days.
And so now people are sensitive to it. And so now, whenever I express myself, the only problem is people will be quick to be like, oh, he's going through something. And then they try to discredit what I'm saying. And we talk about credit. A lot of times credit deals with money. Well, I've never cared about money. And then people started calling me crazy. So then I said, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go out and just make more money, and then y'all going to stop calling me crazy.
Once I get to $1 billion, you can't call me crazy.
Yeah, and then it was 2 years where I wasn't called a billionaire. Then I came out $3 billion, right? Even Forbes exposed themselves and showed like how I was talking to them, say, y'all can't count.
Right.
Y'all better count that up again, Forbes. And I really... When Bloomberg was coming, I just thought about Nike and Louis Vuitton. I said, I bet you I can get Forbes and Bloomberg to deliver the message at the same time, like when Nike and Louis Vuitton delivered. And they did, but this is why I like love. I love, man. Forbes is some of my favorite white supremacists, man. They cold, bro. This is like my most favorite white supremacist is Forbes.
Tell me why, yeah.
Because, bro, I just gotta like respect they gangster, bro, because they don't live in 2020. They act like it's 1800 still, because they'll be like, read the Forbes. It's crazy racist every time they write stuff, and people will do articles, but it'd be like, so. But now what? They keep moving. They still in business, right? So Bloomberg was coming, and they had an accurate net worth of $3.3 billion, and Forbes purposely landed an article to dispute that and said, well, the way we count it, it's 1.3, and they dropped it at 5:05 or something right at the end of the week. So that would go into
the weekend.
To the weekend,
right?
And that would be the story that it was confusion. Right. They could just cause confusion. That's something the devil could do. Is like
the devil is the author of confusion.
They authored confusion. Yeah. And the funny thing is, the guy will still text me, and he'll be talking about his daughter. I'll be like, "Tell your daughter you got a cool dad," and then he'll write an article. It's like. Like, the funny thing, I was gonna curse. I was gonna be like, "Yo, fuck you, Ye," but I really realized
you just
that,
cuss, yeah.
like, when you say curse word, you really do run out of words. So let me tell you. So I'm thinking people calling me crazy, so I'm gonna show them. I'm gonna even show my big bro I'm not crazy. I'm gonna show Jay-Z. I'm gonna show him that, that my value, that you could be diagnosed and people could point fingers at you and you could still be a citizen and you could still have value.
You said, don't let that stigma define who I am.
I didn't let the stigma define who I was. So the funny thing is, so I'm like, boom, it's going to be, they're going to see that, I ate up all my vegetables. And
I did the right thing. I'm be like this.
And I got up to 3.3 billion. I ate up all my vegetables.
Look, guys, I'm not crazy.
Look, guys, I ate up all my vegetables. I got 3.3. And then it's like, look, guys, I got 5 billion. I ate up all my vegetables. And then I cried for my daughter.
And now he's crazy again.
And they said he's crazy again. So that made me tell you, it's like, forget valuing money in that way. Because I thought that if I would become a billionaire, that it could help me beat the stigma. But it was because it's funny because I got friends that soon as someone says, "Oh, yeah, he ain't take his meds," or this, that, they can be like, "You ain't need to take your med," and they can sun me. And it's literally like how people would treat black people 100 years ago.
Wow.
People who are diagnosed could get treated like black people were treated 100. Now we're more subtle.
That's deep. That's deep. Like, because even when you say that, because as someone who they've, called me crazy and, said I had mental health issues, and someone who's actually dealt with many people in my family, and that thing where that stigma that's placed on you can drive you to a place of depression or, and who are they to say that you are crazy, or who are they to say that you just having a moment? And I guess because I feel like I know you, and I know the frequencies we be on. Like, it's not about being defined, and that's where it even goes back to the politics. Of like, why do we have to classify or identify with what you deem to be normal?
And people, all human beings, have an opportunity to go crazy without being defined as crazy.
Right.
Like when people go to a soccer game, they go crazy. They go crazy. So you put me in certain environments, my family would come with me and it'd be paparazzi following us around, and they'd say what they say. I couldn't do this. I'd go crazy. Like there's no human rights in the way.
I couldn't live your life. That would drive me crazy.
That would drive me crazy.
Right.
And so I saw the other side and come back, and now it's like a superhero because I really can understand how to use this heightened sensitivity.
Because that's all it is.
To get more work done. Think about all the people who have done great things in history. Think about
Einstein.
Was Noah crazy when he was working on the ark?
That's what he said. Don't listen to him, Noah. Just keep building your ark.
Just keep building the ark. Because, by the way, it's like even this, I speak from the future to the future. So even right now, this is just documentation that might only make sense to some in the future.
Oh no, it's gonna be classic. It's a classic one, right here.
And that's because what people always do.
Yeah.
Every time something happens, what people got to do? Go to my old interviews. Because
Right.
only my old interviews can apply to now. The majority of the things that I'm saying don't even apply to now.
Yeah, he talking in the future. He teaching us from the future.
Absolutely. If you living in the present, if you living in the future, then the present is your past. My presence is the present. Kiss my ass.
Bars. But that's the thing, man. Like, and to reel it back to the identity of, because that's the thing everybody want to talk about is what's going on with Ye for 2020 is you cleared it up with the whole Jared thing and that Trump's not paying you and the Republicans aren't using you. You doing this solely for the people. Can we talk about that next step?
The Republicans and the Democrats, they couldn't afford me, bro.
So let's talk about where you put in the money, the children, man. Like, and I really want you to touch on your love and compassion. Like, we touched on the heavy subject of abortion, but let's talk about the orphanage and the idea of what you want to do moving forward. Since we talk in the future, and even while we sitting here in Wyoming, or what you really want to do for children.
What I like about this whole thing is it can be just like how we do a verse, because it could be things we kind of hit a point like 6-7 times in an interview, and you say, I might want to hit that twice.
Yeah.
And there's other things you can hit it in. So we're building Plan A. And people could say, how are you building Plan A? Well, Plan A is exactly what you think about. Planned Parenthood and Plan B. Well, this is Plan A. And it's exactly what you think that would be. Yeah. That would be giving stipends. That's creating an orphanage. So right now, I'm donating my land to build an orphanage.
All of these acres that we sitting on right now.
Yes.
Wow.
So...
and that's an orphanage for kids from all over the world.
Well, it's just to look at orphanages. We've visited.
Different way.
Yeah, we look at them a different way. Like when I made this foam runner, or when I made Yeezus, or when I made 808s. Yeah. Just to have an opportunity. I'm a creative. That's the way God uses me. Through my anointing is through creating. Yeah. With these interviews, they be funny to me, though, because I get to create in an interview.
You paint a picture.
Yeah, the interview, I don't know if you know what? People will say he's not the best communicator. No, y'all just don't want to hear what I'm communicating.
Yeah. And it's too busy. They be trying to cut you off and get to the point. That's why I hear you have an open forum. We chop it up like we chop it up on the phone.
Oh, yeah. And my new thing is just, if someone asks me a question.
Don't give away the secrets, Jay. Okay. don't give it away. 'Cause then they going to jump in there and try to talk around it.
I just say, doo-doo.
Exactly. Nah, but, man, to be able to, I was like you live, I've watched you from when your career started to where you are now, and everything you put your mind to, everything you said you were going to do, you did.
You know what?
How?
Everything I put my heart to, everything I put my gut to, if my heart is in it, it's going to work. If it was just my mind, a lot of times people put their mind into delegation. Let me delegate this. Let me not put my heart into that. That's that time when you are in front of it. It's funny. It's like with my children, I have to be in front. I have to be there. I have to be present. Not just the dad that comes with the cool presents. I have to be present, not just the dad that comes with the cool presents. A dad, or just and I have to speak up, not just a dad with the cool presents.
Bars, triple entendre for y'all one time.
So, because sometimes I've had to speak up. I've had to raise my voice certain times on things that I stood for morally.
Right.
And there's a fight for our soul.
Right.
Like I struggled with pornography from 6 years old.
Right.
So if I see, I remember I went to the library and I started taking out all the books that had, sexual imagery in it.
Right.
It wasn't just specifically nudity. It could be a swimsuit picture that was very hyper sexual.
Right.
Bro, it was crazy. It was like half of the library because we'll put like a big coffee table book because it's cool in it.
Right.
And it was like half, naked woman on the front. And then you open it and it has naked. And we're so used to that kind of culture that we don't realize that sex is a drug.
Right.
And when you orgasm, what is it, endorphins?
Yeah, you're releasing all of your
And that
endorphins.
endorphin is very similar to the feeling of heroin, which Percocets are also a similar feeling to that. So don't mix it. Don't have perks
and sex.
and sex
Yeah.
and something to drink and
Yeah.
all. It's like you don't know which way is up or which way is down.
Right.
And that's why like these boxers, they'll sustain
for 6 weeks before the fight.
To sustain. And
To focus, so they get locked in and they take that moment of combat serious, so they don't have any distractions.
Yeah, and even with me as a Christian, it's like I'm a new Christian and I backslide. And it's funny, like the world, New World thinking uses the word karma. You Christian, it's you reap what you sow.
Right.
But karma is New Age.
Right.
That's not the way we even. That's not the terminology for it. And it's fine. God's not petty. He knows what we mean. But I remember these times where I was under high pressures and high test from God, and it was like I was passing the test, and I saw miracles happening. Just amazing things just kept on happening, and I said, "Well, God, I know." The form of Christianity we believe in, we don't believe in acts. So it's some of the acts, and I know it's not. It's not karma. So God, why are all these blessings and why are all these miracles happening? And I had an explanation from a pastor that me and my friend Chris Julian had picked up hitchhiking, that we then dropped off and gave him some money for some food.
Sound like
and
the
some
Good
room.
Samaritan.
Yeah.
Is that right?
But when he was talking about how he backslides.
Yeah.
But what he said is like when your lamp is clean, when your faucet is clean, that God can perform miracles.
Miracles, yeah.
It's like you are getting in the way of your own miracles. Don't be in the way of your own miracles.
Teach.
And every time that I pop off all that cocky stuff, or we talking that money talk and all of that, I'm in the way of my own miracles. That's why I like for us to be able to create this in a way where people saw that point. There was a point that I was building up, but we started having these sub points to it. But the point was saying that how I thought that money was going to validate me. And then I got money. And soon as I cried for my daughter, people said, "You crazy."
Right.
And everyone felt like that was a way to down me.
Yeah.
And that to really understand that my validation will not be from man. And I'm happy that we're here as brothers to be next to each other. We brothers, for real, because we going through a lot.
Ridicule.
Yeah, a lot of the similar things. And I'm happy to just be able to have a conversation, because people will say, "Look at this. This is the first time that I'm speaking in public since South Carolina."
Right.
And I'm doing it right here on your show.
Yeah, with another person who hasn't spoken since my own controversy. So
Yes, and to speak, if you are a public figure, speaking in public is therapeutic. I use the crowd. Often I use the crowd as my audience.
That's your therapy right
Yeah,
there.
and also you use it to try out some ideas.
Right.
You say, "Let me try this. Let me see how the crowd responds to this." The reason why I know that I will eventually could be 3 months, eventually could be 3.5 years, it could be 4 years. So the reason why I eventually will make a great president is because I'm sensitive. I'm here. I'm here to serve. Even as a Gemini, I feel the energy in the room. I read body language.
Yeah.
I read this energy, and I hurt. The thing is this.
You have that spirit of discernment.
Yeah. I hurt for the country. I hurt for not just black people, but I hurt for all people of America, and I hurt for all people of the world. I hurt for everyone's children. I hurt for the situation. I hurt for illegal aliens that have put in their work for 20 years.
Immigrants.
Yeah.
It's like this nation of immigrants that John F. Kennedy wrote. Like that's
Yeah.
what this country truly is. And for somebody,
Yeah.
that would be probably wrapping it up. I would want to talk about the hurt that is going on in this country specifically, and the pain that people are experiencing. And I feel like that's why a lot of the frustration towards you, where they might call us out of touch or crazy or coons or whatever term it is, when really it comes from a place where there's a lot of pain going on, yeah. And your music has healed so many. Mm-hmm. Your words, your outspokenness has healed so many. Mm-hmm. So if they're used to Ye healing, how in this moment does Kanye heal?
We're building factories. We're building farms. We're reinstating agriculture.
Talk about the
ecology
agriculture for a minute, because people, like you said, Dr. Claude Anderson, he put us up on game. He said right after the Civil War, during the Reconstruction time, where some of the best times, that's when America was great. Black people were over 55% of the farmers in this country, and now they're less than 1%. Like that, agriculture is where the wealth truly was created for this country, and till this day can continue to be that. And now you even stepping into that world.
Yes, and
for us.
Yeah, and for us, and us is, what is beautiful about the Black existence in America, it sharpens you. Just to be a Black person in America, like
resilience.
I remember spending 3 hours explaining what the white voice was to my wife, because for her it's just her voice, it's just the voice.
You just answer the phone the same way. Hello.
But I had to explain that in order to get a job, if you want a job downtown, you had to act white, and you could lose your job if you acted Black. But the thing is,
yourself.
That's the thing. You're not acting. If you act Black, you're actually being yourself. So your existence, just to be able to pay for your well-being, you literally have to act like a white person. It's so funny when I go to like a wedding and it'll be a Black pastor and they'll say, he speaks so well.
He speaks so well. That's like Chris Rock.
What do you mean, American? Like, I love.
How did you think he was going to talk?
but it's like, how we supposed to speak perfect? Like, I love incorrect English. My mom is an English professor. I heard her use the word ain't. I said, don't use ain't, mama. She said, no, you could use colloquialism. Correct English is using the English that's appropriate to who you talking to. This is from an English professor.
Come on now.
So we are way simpler. I play this dictionary game where we take a pocket dictionary and all the people in the room, we all get a pocket dictionary, we pick a page, and you highlight the words that you feel are positive. And you read all the definitions. Now, I want you to read the definition of help. You think that help is a positive word, right?
Yeah.
The fourth definition is to avoid, because you think that help is a positive word. Wow. But look at how many times where look at this. Even if you meet with an exec in L.A., they'll not give you the deal, but they'll say, well, how can I help you? Help me, like, I'm going to give you somebody else's number.
Yeah, help me understand why.
Or how many times something didn't get fixed, but a bunch of people helped.
Yeah.
Right? The word is to ensure. And a lot of the words, U-R-E at the end, have a confidence in it, it's not a word. I don't want to say confidence. They have an assurance in them.
Yeah.
They have a future, like.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
And people can get to that. Like, you can get into the.
It has affirmation in it.
Negro, negligent. You could do words that have because the Tower of Babylon has caused so much confusion. That's why I love.
Because we were trying to get to God.
Yes. And then he said, boom, we're going to give you all these different languages. Yeah. So when the Pope talks, he got to talk in 27 different languages.
Right.
This is why I love nonverbal communication and things where you just see it, because
you can interpret it for what you
all
need
this
to
that
do.
I asked you, because you asked me, what are you doing to heal? Well, I understand words could be healing, but I'm not a professional orator. I understand, books can be healing, but I'm not a professional book writer.
But you're a professional creative. You're a professional artist.
I'm a producer. But before I was producing things that were non-tangible, music, in a way, you get the feeling, but you can't grab it. It's an invisible thing. You can't eat music.
Teach. Come on.
Now you can dance to your dinner. You could
Yeah.
music could, it's set up. Thank you,
But
gramophone.
it's a vibration.
It's a vibration. It's a beautiful thing. But I've stepped into a place of actually learning to build.
And physical things.
Yeah, physical things, building homes, building domes.
Yeah.
A friend of mine said, "Are you building single-family homes?" I said, "I'm building single-family domes." Homes.
Bars.
That's how Biggie would end a verse.
Yeah.
Homie. So that's what I'm doing. I'm physically building things. Like the thing about this shoe right here, it was made in America. And my concept is not that. My concept is just local manufacturing, especially we post-COVID, we decentralized.
Yeah.
So if you buy this shoe in China, it'll be made in China. If you buy the shoe in America, it'll be made in America. It's like the idea for manufacturing is the McDonald's of manufacturing. And this is something that we're instating in the Gap. Like I love the movie The Founder, and I love the scene when they built the kitchen.
Yeah.
That was these moments. I watch the making of movies more than the movie
Actual
because
movie.
I want to know how to make them.
Right.
It's like when you were just talking about, hey, man, I'm an engineer. You just kept on saying, how was this made? Because everybody can have a sketch. It's another thing to materialize it. You can ask Don C. He like travel, and if you go to an Italian factory, they have a cup sole, you put it there. The reason why we up to this point, we've had to always collaborate with organizations like Nike and Adidas because they're best of class at materializing this. They knew the factories.
Right.
And the biggest fight that I had was to get my own factory. Now we have a factory in Cody, but this shoe is made in Atlanta, Georgia. But we have a factory in Cody that can make these EVA foam injector shoes and bring jobs to America.
You're truly bringing jobs to America and truly bringing jobs to the community.
Yeah, and redesigning communities.
Yeah.
And the thing is,
They don't give you that credit though, yeah. They wanna write you off when you actually doing so much work.
But I'm predicting the future. I'm not actually talking about what we're doing right now.
Yeah. But in that vibe, and as we wrap up, I mean, like I said, you drop so many gems. It's gonna be an outstanding Cannon's class. But to clarify and to clear up some things, just based off of you running for president right now, is that something that you're comfortable speaking about? Because it is unclear, and I think that's where people could come up with these theories and what you're really trying to do because they're not clear on what your actions are.
I'm not running for president. I'm walking.
So that's going to take a little bit more time. So you might not get there in 2020 is what you say. You're walking your way to president. We'll take that.
I might sprain the ankle if I run.
Man is a genius, ladies and gentlemen. A multi-genius. We patent that term. And man, we got to
three-peat?
Yeah. We got to
But I do want to give you some content to work with on the running for president thing. I believe that you jump into the deep end. Like I like how Trump was never governor. Well, I'm not even gonna go to people say if he was governor, he'd have been a better president.
And you can admit that Trump wasn't the greatest president, though, right? We know that. Otherwise, you wouldn't be running. Like
that is a really no. I'm running because I was hit with the idea to run in 2020.
Right.
Now, the outcome is up to God.
Right.
But if I hadn't ran for president.
2024 sounds good, too.
Yeah. if I hadn't ran for president, I wouldn't have been in South Carolina.
And you wouldn't have had that moment.
If I wasn't in South Carolina, God wouldn't have broke me down and had the media ridicule me in this way.
Right.
And that ridicule and that being torn.
And hit so home, so close to your family. And
yeah. To be ridiculed for crying for your daughter. The world needed to see me. The world needed to see themselves. The fact that they would do that.
Right.
But also, I needed to see myself.
Right.
I needed to see to recalibrate.
Fact.
You don't learn a lot. You don't learn a lot from doing things perfect. You learn a lot from things that could be considered a mess up or a screw up.
Mistake.
You say from a mistake.
Not an L, it's a lesson.
It's because it's a lesson. It's not a mistake because God don't make mistakes.
Right.
I remember when I was at TMZ, I said, you don't think, I told one of my friends, I said, you don't think that God may have planned for me to be a TMZ? And his response was, I'm agnostic.
Well, good luck.
Good luck with that.
That's what you tell atheists. Good luck, man. Because they don't apply to
I was arguing with the craziest atheists. I mean, therapists need a therapist. I mean, they was pissed as asparagus.
Oh.
I mean,
bars. So look, man, we could do this for hours because we do this. We just letting y'all into how we vibe, and you know, a lot of like, man, it was just two crazy niggas talking. But
they might want a part 2.
And we got to do it.
All right, so cool. I'm gonna get back to the gap.
But nah, man, I say this and with all seriousness. You know, every day I try to send you some scripture, and I think it's like in 2 Corinthians, I believe like 8-9. It talks about where I think what it is, it's like 12 8-9. That's 2 Corinthians 12 8-9. It talks about we're weak, for he is strong. I mean, that's in that Yes, Jesus Loves Me song. But the part before that actually talks about when it says, I delight in my weaknesses, in the outside insults, hardships, and persecutions. Yeah. And I feel like you're an example of that, or someone who you welcome all of that because you can show God's strength.
Yeah. Does it say he is strong in our weakness, or he?
Yeah. That's that. But it says all that, and it says, therefore I'm weak, but he is strong. And it shows like he's where I'm weak, he's strong, and it talks about the insults, the hardships, the persecutions, people trying to ridicule you, and through all that, you can show God's strength. And I think you've done that time and time again, and people could take. What you could call him, call me, call us, whatever you want. But when you can see the presence of a higher power, the Creator working and walking in, whether it's faith, whether it's your opportunity to show your love for your family and humanity, I don't see any negative. All I see is love, and all I see is God in this.
That weakness is beautiful. Yeah. I'm happy that people got to see that. Yeah. Got to see that vulnerability. I'm happy that
we're growing through it.
I'm happy to get to see that I had it, because I've had to be so strong that I didn't even know that I could break down. Yeah. I've been through so much I didn't know that I could break down.
And we're not just going through it, we growing through it.
Yeah. Bar.
Yeah, there it is. I finally got a bar here, so we're going to end it right there. Kanye 10, Nick 1. It's been an amazing time, man. My brother, I love you, dog. Like, for real. Let's just keep doing this. Thank you for inviting me out here. Another session of Cannon's class. Part 2 coming. This is a classic.